Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of the Fantasy Football Fallout. This episode is all about the wide receivers for Week 15 of the NFL and fantasy football season. If you're new to the show, basically, long story short, I look at who is projected to score well, who did score well, how does it relate to the rest of the season. I also give you my top 5 waiver plays, and I also give my award, the Kicked in the Nuts Award. I have a good one. I'm sure this gentleman kicked everybody else in the nuts too. So let's just get rolling here. Let's go. Top 10, ESPN top 10 coming into the week in order. Michael Thomas, Mike Evans, Julio Jones, Julian Edelman, Devontae Adams, Chris Godwin, DJ Moore, Tyreek Hill, DeAndre Hopkins, and Courtland Sutton. Now, who actually scored in the top 10? The ones in white were the ones ESPN got correct inside the top 10. Emmanuel Sanders, A.J. Brown, who could have been had off of waivers this week. Michael Thomas, DeAndre Hopkins, Robby Anderson, who could have been had off of waivers. Diontae Johnson, who could have been had off of waivers. Robert Woods, Marcus Johnson, who could have been had off of waivers. Julian Edelman, and then, of course, I'm sure everybody started I already screwed it up. Olamide Zaccheaus. So there you go. I watched a video beforehand just to see, okay, how do I pronounce this name? Zaccheaus. Okay. Let me see. Let's just get to, you know what? Let me do the analysis first. Diontae Johnson, he's going to be, him and James Washington are going to be trading the primary games, I think, until Juju Smith-Schuster comes back. So he's volatile. A.J. Brown, I like him moving forward. Jeez, he looks like a man amongst boys sometimes out there. And the Oakland Raiders struggled in pass coverage, and Tennessee exploited that matchup. Emmanuel Sanders had a great game. Let's see, Robert Woods, he's going to be hit or miss. It's either going to be him or Cooper Kupp. Marcus Johnson, I wouldn't pick him up, and Zaccheaus, I wouldn't pick him up either. We'll see, though, if Calvin Ridley's injury is more of an issue. I think it's more Russell Gage than it is Zaccheaus, but if we're at the end of the season and Atlanta benches Julio Jones just to preserve him for next year and make sure he doesn't get injured, same with Calvin Ridley, then Zaccheaus will have some value towards the end of the year. Let's go to the Kicked in the Nuts Award. Let's just get right into it. The person who kicked me in the nuts is Mike Evans. And what can you say, man? Like, he was projected to have a huge game. No fault of his own by any means. But he had a nasty hamstring injury. He's probably going to be gone for the rest of the year. So that's like a double kick. I think he played in the first quarter. He had a touchdown grab, a 61-yard touchdown reception, and then gets injured and then out for the game. What a bummer. I know a lot of people out there were trying to figure out, do they play him? Because he's been up and down all season. The people that played him, well, at least he got that one touchdown grab, but it should have been a huge game. I thought he was going to just completely pop off, so that's a bummer. But let's move forward to the waiver wire selections for the week. If you need some help, there's still some help out there. Deebo Samuel still owned in 47.5% of leagues. Devontae Parker out. He left the game with injury. I read up. It doesn't look too serious, but we're getting towards the end of the season. This is where guys get put in the injured reserve with the flu. It's just you don't know what's going to happen there, so just try to pay attention to whether or not he's going to play, but he will still have some value. Zach Pascal, I think he'll have value regardless of whether or not T.Y. Hilton plays, and if T.Y. Hilton plays in an odd way, I think that actually helps Pascal's value. A.J. Brown, I mentioned, I love what he's doing. My problem is Houston's defense is pretty good, so week to week, and Houston and Tennessee, by the way, are going to battle it out for the AFC South Championship. They have 2 of the last 3 games are against each other, so they're going to basically just the winners of those games is probably going to be, if one team wins both of those games, if they finish in a sweep, that's it. Russell Gage, I like him, like I was just saying, depending on what happens with Julio Jones and Calvin Ridley's injury. John Ross, I like coming off of waivers. James Washington, too. Now, I could have put Diontae Johnson on there. I just prefer James Washington and how Devlin Hodges is thrown to the wide receivers at this point. Diontae Johnson's been a little bit of an afterthought in recent weeks. Now, I still like him going forward, especially when Ben Roethlisberger is back next year. So if you're in a keeper league, by all means, stash him. But James Washington, I like just a little bit more to close out the season. So there you go. That brings me through my entire video here. If you could like, comment, subscribe, that stuff helps us out. Who got you in the nuts? Who kicked you in the nuts? I want to know about it. Please comment here. And then check us out on one of our other videos. We do quarterbacks, running backs, tight ends, and defense and special teams as well. Catch you then. Thank you very much.